Hey everyone, I'm Tassenix, and welcome back for another mod guide. This time we're digging into Darth Talon. She is an attacker for your Sith teams, and though I'm mostly running her with Darth Treya, she can absolutely be of use to you with Sith Eternal, Malgus, elsewhere. We're right now in the conquest leading up to the Stranger, so it's going to be still a couple months yet until he comes out, but maybe Talon has a place there as well. We'll find out. Before we get any further, let's go ahead and dig into the TLDR for Darth Talon. Set types should be crit damage or offense. I think you can make a reasonable case for either. I personally prefer crit damage, especially where I can have strong offense secondaries. I wouldn't want to leave a lot of offense on the table. So if your crit damage set that you're considering isn't really having strong offense secondaries, go with offense for now and maybe later on transition into crit damage. As far as your two set goes, I very much prefer potency because I don't like to run a potency cross. If you were running a potency cross, it's pretty easy to get to about that 100% potency mark as a baseline, without having to worry about a potency set. In which case, you could go with health, for which she has natural synergy, or you could go with defense, which, if you're at higher relics for her, especially, there's some value there because she does have unique effects that help her team, and those will die with her. So, whichever way you can go that best perpetuates her life, that's the way to do it. All right. As far as the arrow goes, offense. I prefer offense as the primary over health over speed. Her role is starting from mid game on is to slap, right? So offense primary with offense secondaries. Strong speed would be, of course, preferred. Now, if you had a health primary with strong offense secondaries, that's perhaps striking a better balance. With what I mentioned just a second ago about the importance of her survivability. So I could see you making a case for that, but again, I really wouldn't want to leave too much table. And then last would be speed. It's pretty easy to have her in the 270, 280 range. I think that's a fine spot for her to be in. And that's not hard to do if you have some decent speed secondaries. Otherwise, if you're feeling like you're a little short, Speed Arrow will take you there. Circle. Now, this might be a little controversial. I do prefer protection on her over health. Health's not bad by any means. She has natural synergy with health, as you'll see. But protection is something that she ramps. She'll increase her own protection pool through the loyal hand mechanic. And if she's paired with Savage on a team, anytime Savage is being critically hit, allies' protection is being restored. So she's ramping her total pool, and then Savage is helping fill that pool back up, right? Alternatively, if you're running it with Sith Eternal, Sith Eternal's first special restores 50% protection. So you can see why there's benefits there. Like I said, though, nothing wrong with health. Triangle should be crit damage. Her purpose is to slap people. They need to be big slaps every time. And cross. For the reasons I mentioned about the arrow above, I do prefer offense primary over health. And then, as a last option, you might consider potency. I do prefer to have her about 100% baseline potency at the start of the fight. And like I said, pretty easily done through secondaries and a potency two piece. Wanted to do a cross, particularly if you have a cross that has strong offense secondaries, some speed to complement, then you could run with this and then have more latitude about your two set. Turn order, I have her written down as number one, not because she has to be number one. It's just incidentally, I find that in particular with Treya, she ends up being the fastest character. Um, as long as her speed is respectable, like 270 plus, I'd say at minimum, I would prefer 280 plus. I think you'll be okay because it's just about having her take a decent number of turns until she's able to pop Dark Frenzy and then give herself Frenzy. And then when her allies go, that'll trigger her to go. And that's what I mean. She's going to just kind of go off from there. So, yeah, the number one is mostly incidental. It ends up being she's kind of the first. Stat priority. So I prefer health. Sorry, I prefer offense over health and protection over speed for the reasons that I mentioned earlier. She's there to hit hard. Still, you want her to survive. So try and balance that, but favor hitting hard. And then I do have just that last comment there where I starred on potency notes. Potency set type does complement the health and offense primaries, whichever way you choose to go there. You could go with the potency cross and then go with the health instead, health or defense. All right, That breaks down the TLDR. Let's go ahead and refresh ourselves. In the particular case of running Talon under Treya, which is where she mostly is for me, we'll remind ourselves about her leadership highlights. Passion is weakness. Sith allies have 40% crit avoidance and 40% potency. When a debuffed enemy takes damage, all Sith allies recover 10% health. Darth Treya's unique highlights, Lord of Betrayal. At the start of each Sith ally's turn, Treya dispels all debuffs on them and deals 5% of their max health, maximum of 75%, for each debuff dispelled. So, yeah, if you went with that protection primary circle, you would be minimizing the self inflicted damage from that. And then the last clause, when allied Nihilus or Sign are critically hit or inflicted with buff, Treya gains 12% offense, stacking for 2 turns. So no direct call out there to Treya herself. Or sorry, to Talon herself. Okay, let's go ahead and get into Talon's kit, starting with her base unique, Sith Cruelty. At the start of battle, Darth Talon gains stealth for 1 turn. Sith allies gain 30% max health, 30% offense, and plus 20 speed. Whenever Darth Talon falls below 100% health, Sith tanks gain retribution and taunt for 1 turn. With the Omicron applied while in Grand Arenas, if the target enemy is inflicted with Isolate from Darth Freya or Pain from Darth Sion, Darth Talon's attacks gain additional effects. Whenever Darth Talon defeats an enemy, all other Sith allies gain 5% max protection and 5% offense for each stack of Loyal Hand on her. See Loyal Hand a little later. So, if she is attacking a target that is inflicted with Isolate, Darth Talon's attacks lower the cooldown of Dark Frenzy, her signature special, by 1. Gain 2 stacks of Loyal Hand up to a max of 20. Pain, if she's hitting a target with Pain on them from Darth Sion, Dark Frenzy inflicts buff immunity on all enemies for 2 turns. Darth Talon's attacks recover all allies' health equal to 50% of the damage dealt, doubled for allied Darth Sion. Gain plus 20 speed for the rest of the encounter, stacking max of 200 and 1 stack of Loyal Hand, max of 20. So Darth Sion maybe feels lackluster on a team of, otherwise kind of superstars, right? Treya, Nihilus, Aj, and now Talon. We're just in the first unique, but you can see this is going to be a powerful kit. And you have a really strong synergy with Pain. So yeah, the Pain itself is probably worth the price of admission having Sion run alongside Talon. Okay, proven loyalty. Next unique. If all allies are Sith at the start of battle, excluding summoned allies, whenever the leader is damaged, all allies gain 5% turn meter. The first time they would be defeated while Darth Talon is active, they dispel all debuffs on themselves, recover 100% health, and gain 100% turn meter. Then, Darth Talon gains 3 stacks of Loyal Hand, maximum of 20, loses 50% health, and gains stealth for 1 turn. Darth Talon can't be defeated by this damage. Additionally, Dark Frenzy's cooldown is refreshed. So, yeah, this ability I mostly call on stream Dark Savior, right? This is to Sith what Savior is from Jedi Revan for Jedi allies. Except this only saves the leader, right? Uh, that's the big difference. So, if you're Darth Treya, for example, is under heavy fire and she is about to get popped, unless it's an instant defeat effect, this effect will save her. Really powerful. Okay, let's go ahead and dig into Talon's basic. Talon's Strike. Deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict ability block for 1 turn. If the target was already debuffed, reduce the cooldown of Dark Frenzy by 1. So, yeah, you could say, oh, Tass, if you're running Talon under Treya all the time and she gives 40% potency, why is it so important to you to have 100% baseline potency? That doesn't seem excessive. It's maybe most of the time, if it's with Treya, probably maybe. But I like modding for the general case. Like, I like that my Treya modding or my Talon modding is flexible so that regardless of the Sith team that I'm running with, I'm not really depending on the leader or the potency to have reasonable reliability on this ability block getting applied. That's my case. All right, special one, ordered assassination. Deal physical damage to target enemy and stealth for 1 turn. If this attack defeats an enemy, gain 100% turn meter. Cooldown of 2. So if you're judicious about it and you use this to get a last hit, man, this is tough. And fighting this on defense, I've definitely had this go bad on me. Yeah, fighting this on somebody else's team because it kicks right off into this dark frenzy here. Let's look into special 2. Deal physical damage to target enemy and gain frenzy turns. If target enemy was debuffed, gain 2 stacks of loyal hand, maximum of 20, and deal damage an additional time to all enemies. This ability starts on cooldown of 5. Loyal Hand, this unique effect only for her, is defined as plus 10% max protection and offense, stacking, maximum of 20. This buff cannot be copied, prevented, or dispelled. So yeah, she's ramping up her own total protection, and then ideally with Savage or Sith Eternal, I guess, restoring and filling that protection pool back up. She hits harder as we go. She's stacking protection and offense. She's getting more durable as we go in terms of. All right. Next up, I want to talk about a brief reminder on team comps and turn order. So I will, in this video description, have a link back to the Darth Traya video where this all began for the faction. And in that video, I describe in detail why you might go with some of these compositions. Now, among these, I guess I don't have Sith Eternal listed because I'm really mostly not doing it. But I acknowledge that there's some. Wow, this Lord Vader team I haven't seen in a minute, but yeah, this kind of a pain, something like that. Anyways, what you're seeing here on screen is the turn order of these different Sith compositions, and some of them don't feature Talon. Talon often doesn't make the cut with Traya in 3 versus 3. Sometimes she does. It's kind of rare that you would do that, but again, I discussed that more in the Traya video. Regardless, you'll see that where she's present, except with Lord Vader, she's usually the fastest one, so that's not why I have her first in the list, and the rest of these are shown in turn order. Okay, that said, let's go back and take a look at the mods themselves. Smart way would. All right, so here we go. So for all that jaw jack, and I was saying earlier about how I like the offense primary over the health primary over the speed for the arrow. Yeah, I mean I'm a little tighter than I'd like to be on my offense and health primaries for arrow. So there's higher priority characters for me to get those, and so she's rocking speed right now. Nevertheless, some offense on there that doesn't hurt anybody. Crit damage triangle, as you can see, some offense, some health on there. I did go with the crit damage set, as I was saying. I would prefer that on her just to be extra punchy. The largest bursts of damage come out of crit damage sets, but that's also assuming that there's a solid base of offense to complement it. You can't just switch from a good offense set into any crit damage set and actually do more. So, gotta have some secondaries to go with. Um, Offense primary for the cross. I have health right now on the circle. Like I said, I don't think it's the end of the world. She just has more. I think the survivability situation is better when she's in a protection circle. So this is why I covered all of that because you have some options. As far as what the actual stats look like, so here I've made her relic 9. You do not need to. I made her relic 9 specifically to have just that little bit extra when running her alongside Darth Bane. And there's some cool benefits there, right? At the start of battle, he's going to have the extra health, which feeds into third. He's going to have the extra offense feeding into his anything. And whenever she dies off, that's we lose her uniques, but then you get all the other stuff from Bane's kit, right? So I did that specifically for just that little added edge. You could have easily used her at Relic 8 too. I just wanted her at 9. But I was saying, like, at Relic 7, Relic 8, she's going to have some decent survivability. And we see that her health is 71,000, 57,000 protection, 286 speed, so decently fast. In older times, I've had her faster, 290, even up closer to 300. I don't know how much. when you're working with an effect like Frenzy, where whenever your allies take a special, you get a bonus turn. And I want to say that lasts for 2 turns, the Frenzy, 2 or 3 turns. And yeah, she's just going to take back-to-back turns and just slap people. Critical damage, yeah, 243%. The main benefit of running the crit damage set. Potency, we're just over 100%, so I'm covered whether or not I'm running under trail lead. As far as offense goes, 10,000 it's okay. It's okay. I've had her higher. I've had her like 10.5, maybe even closer up toward 11 in a crit damage set in times past, but more stressed on those mods right now. So 10,000 seems like a lot, but in an offense set, you could pretty readily have her closer up towards 12,000. And so you're really thinking, it's like, wow, if I tacked on some more offense, then I wouldn't be relying on the offense ramp to bring me closer up to where I'd be starting from in an offense set with like 12,000 and then just 192% crit damage instead of 243. There's a balance to find. So really consider your actual mods. And then crit chance, you can see here, just with a measly 2% added incidentally from some mod, she's at 88%. She's more than likely going to crit, so I'm not too worried about it. Now you could say, being in a crit damage set, it might behoove me to have a little bit more crit damage tucked in here. I think I could find that through secondaries if I had to. So yeah, hopefully this gives you guys some insights on how to work with her. She is a really fun attacker, and I'll never forget Brilliant Zid, who taught me a painful lesson long time ago now, but I'll still never forget it. It was my Sith Eternal versus his Treya team, and I killed everybody but Talon at this point. So it's my Sith Eternal solo versus Talon. I've got this, right? It's late in the fight. I'm big and bad. I've been transformed. I've got my mastery all ramped up and whatnot. And she slapped my shit. It was bad. So you could say any other type of modding could be used for her, but making her hit hard, especially when she's ramped up late in the game, that's the ticket. So thanks again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you liked this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more from this channel, please hit subscribe. And until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.